Hello and welcome to This Could Start an Argument with me, Matty Hill.
And me, Sophie May.
Had some big news this past week, haven't we?
Is it only been a week?
I think you mentioned it last week, I think.
So what we are talking about is, if you haven't seen already, firstly, where have you been? Have you been under a rock? Because we have shared that we're going to Sri Lanka. Not just going, moving.
Moving. Well, you shared it. I've not said anything yet. So
You've
there's
told
still a few
some of
people
your clients.
Yeah, there's still a few people that don't know.
I mean, we only told our parents at Christmas.
We only really decided at Christmas, didn't we?
Yeah, in December.
Yeah, we kind of were thinking about it a lot, weren't we, last year especially?
Yeah, and that leads us on to our first question. So we asked on... I think we should, because you were about to talk about it and that answers the question. So many of you asked questions on Instagram. Joking, I think we only had one.
Yeah, I was like, are we going down that route of where so many people ask questions, one person asked a question?
No, I'm too honest. One person asked a question, but it's a really good question and I think it'd start us off. So when I posted on my social media, what do you want to know about us moving to Sri Lanka, because it's a big deal and I know a lot of people are so excited that we're going and actually wish they were doing it as well. So I thought it'd be really good to actually ask questions that you want the answers to. So the first and only question that we've got is, was there a moment where you went from chatting about it to we are absolutely doing this now? And the answer is yes. I mean, ever since we've met, we have wanted to live abroad. So when me and Matty met, I don't know how long you'd been back, but you've lived in Australia for 5 years.
Yeah.
And then I lived in Bali for about 6 months, was meant to be 8, but I had accidents, but that's another story. And then I've lived in Australia, but that was about 10 years ago now, and I only did it for a year.
Well, that's when I moved 10 years ago.
Was it 10 years ago as well? But you were there 5 years ago, whereas I was there 1 year.
Yeah, well, I did November. I remember I went November 2014 to November 2015, and then that was my 1 year working holiday visa. Then came back for 6 or so months. Basically, went back to Australia April 2016, and then was there until June 2019.
Yeah. I can't remember what years it was. I just remember that I went a week after I turned 21 years old. I went to Thailand and Cambodia for 6 weeks and then straight from there to Australia for a year. And I remember I only had £1,800 in my bank, which is ridiculous because to get into Australia, if they checked my bank, I think you needed £4,000 to
English.
show. I think so, something like that. It definitely was more. It was definitely more than I had that you needed, if that makes sense.
I didn't have the right amount. I didn't have enough.
No, but bear in mind, I'd been travelling first in Thailand and Cambodia. So actually, when I entered Australia, I think I had £180 in my
Really?
bank.
What, you went to Thailand and Cambodia with 1,800 quid? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I did it budget. I was proper backpacking. Like, you've not really done backpacking, but I was backpacking, staying in dorms, doing it really cheaply. And I'd only decided 3 months before I was going that I was going. And my parents, I remember the time my parents were getting divorced. My first boyfriend at the time had just broke up with me. I wasn't getting on with the girls at college. They were horrible. And I just thought, and I didn't really have any super close friends. I think I'd lost a really dear friendship as well. And I was really struggling with my mental health. And I just thought, what have I got to lose? And I remember I actually don't know his name, and I didn't know him, I just knew of him. And I remember on a night out I was chatting to him and he was going to Australia, I think, and I hadn't heard about anyone doing it at that time. It wasn't really a thing back then, he was the first person I spoke to. And then that completely opened my world up to new possibilities. And I didn't know, I'd left dance college and I'd auditioned for one dance college in London, but bear in mind I started dance at 15 years old, and it was just insane. I didn't get in, but also I realised how competitive it was and also how bitchy it was, and I thought, actually, I don't think I want to do this. So around me, my life was crumbling, and that's why I thought, right, let's do it. And I'm quite impulsive, as you know.
Yeah.
And then 3 months later, I was like, right, I booked my flight, and then I had 3 months to save. And that's only why I went away with £1,800.
Yeah, well, so I didn't. What did I do? I don't know what I went over with. I obviously went with some money, but I went at 21 after uni to Australia, and the only reason that I went was because a friend of mine was offered a job running a restaurant. So he was a chef. He was offered a job running a restaurant and a bar in the Whitsundays, and he was just like, "Do you want to come with me, and you can get a working holiday visa, and you can work in the bar. I'll be project managing the two venues." There was a restaurant. Yeah, sorry, it was a restaurant and a bar separate. So he's like, I'm gonna be chefing in the restaurant, project manage the two, and you can work in the bar, and we'll basically have a life where when we're not working, we can just literally go in the sea and be in like the Whitsunday Islands on amazing beaches and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, I'm in. And then they couldn't sponsor him for whatever the reason was. I can't remember. There was a reason that he couldn't go, so that fell through. And then I'd already told everybody that I was going to Australia, and got really excited about it. And then I was like, oh, I'm not going anymore. But I didn't want to tell anybody that I wasn't going. So in the end, I still went. And then I found myself work experience, and like tried to get myself in a job at a football club as a sports journalist over there. And that's why I went. And then I went over. That didn't go to plan. And then I ended up just being there for the year. Didn't want to do my farm work. I'm not going to work on a farm. Look at me. Like,
you've not even backpacked.
I've not
properly.
backpacked. I always stay in a hostel. I'm not staying in a room.
Have you ever stayed in a hostel?
I stayed in a hostel for the first week that I was in Australia, and it was horrendous. I met some like good people in there, and it was a good way of getting into like moving to a new country and just being thrown in at the deep end.
Gosh, I spent 6 months in hostels in a row. Not just even in Australia, before I got there, in Thailand and Cambodia. And in Thailand, I remember staying at one just because it had really good reviews of people and the atmosphere. But we didn't even have a shower. It was a bucket of water, a big bucket of water with a small bucket, and you'd literally like a wet room, but not a nice wet room, and just pour the bucket of water over you to wash. That was the shower.
That sounds like my version of hell. I stayed in... So when I moved to Australia, it was like base backpackers in St Kilda. It was sourced through STA Travel. So they sorted my flights and everything. I stayed in base backpackers, and I'll never forget, and I'm still friends with a guy who was in the hostel with me at the same time. He never lets me live this down. I just got off the 20-odd hour flight, and I've got to the hostel. It's one of base backpackers as well. Was one of those hostels where it's like a party hostel. So I've got into the hostel, checked in at like gone midnight. I'm there thinking everyone in the room's just going to be in the bar, but I'm knackered. I'm going to go to bed. So I've walked into the hostel. It's an 8-bed dorm. I've gone in, turned the lights on. Everybody's in bed, and I was like, oh shit, okay. Turn the light off, and then I've got to try and find a bunk which is empty. And then so I've eventually found one. I've got the top bunk, so I'm trying to not wake the person on the bottom. I'm climbing up the ladders, but I can't see anything. I thought that there was another like rung on the ladder.
Don't tell me you fell off.
Yeah, I fell.
Did everyone wake up?
No, I didn't fall off onto the floor. I like fell onto the top of the bed. So I've gone to put my foot down onto what I thought was the rung of a ladder, and it was just air, and I've just like face planted into the bed, and thankfully it didn't wake anybody up. I didn't think anybody had seen or heard. Yeah, my mate, he saw me, and he's never let me live it down. Every time I speak to him, he's always like, "Do you remember that time you face planted at the hostel?" I was like, "Yeah, I do. But yeah.
Well, we won't be staying in hostels this time, and you've only stayed a week.
I was just going to say, we've really gone way around the question.
We've not answered
I've forgotten what the question was. When did we decide we were going?
Yeah, so the reason that I was talking about that before we went all around the houses was ever since we've met each other, we've got a background in travelling and living abroad. And so that is always something when we've met, even before we met, we said we want to live abroad.
Yeah.
But then it's hard, right? Because we didn't want to just move away with no money again, like we've done before. And we didn't want to move away and just do an ordinary job. I mean, both of us have built up our businesses, and actually they've grown more so as we've known each other.
Yeah.
Our businesses, like we were both just starting off when we met each other. So they've built, and that's really hard to leave, especially because it's in person. And we obviously moved to Knutsford from Chorlton. You kind of started your business again a little bit because you moved gyms, but I moved completely different areas. Even though it's just half an hour away, I thought people would travel from Chorlton to Knutsford. They didn't. So I've literally had to start again, and that's been in a year and a half, and it's built quicker than when I was in Chorlton for various reasons, but also because I put more energy into it. But that's what has actually stopped us from moving away, and it's something that last year I was like, right, I really want to move away, and I've been talking about Sri Lanka for at least a year now, maybe longer.
You mentioned it when we were in Turkey once, didn't you?
When
because
was
you
that?
knew someone.
2 years ago? Was it a year and a half ago?
I can't remember.
It wasn't last year, it was
it
the year before. I'd say
Was
it's
it?
just over a year.
Was it? Maybe.
Just over a year.
Yeah.
And the reason I'd heard about it, so I've heard it mentioned before, and I've always wanted to go to Sri Lanka, but we were going to do a retreat in Morocco, weren't we, a while ago?
Yeah.
And then our Turkey retreat, which is another story, didn't quite go to plan. We enjoyed the UK retreats that we'd led rather than the abroad one. So we actually didn't end up doing the one in Morocco, but I'd spoken...
Yeah,
been
that was
speaking
the woman,
to this,
wasn't it?
yeah, to this girl, and I remember they did really good retreats there, and I actually was after a retreat for myself, so I reached out to her. It had been a year or so, and I said, have you got any retreats coming up there that I could join? And she said, I'm actually in Sri Lanka at the moment, and you know, she was managing that retreat centre, and she was now managing a retreat centre in Sri Lanka. And I was like, what's it like? And she was like, you'd come, you've lived in Bali, right? You'd love it. It's meant to be like the new Bali, as in before Bali got overcrowded and more about kind of influencers now. So there's still a lot of culture, but there's a lot westernized as well. So you've got that nice balance. So then I've been looking at it since then and always wanting to go. I mean, it has everything that I have dreamed of. You have all the wildlife, the animals, the safaris, you have all the beaches, you have the culture. It's a very spiritual place. You have lots of temples and things like that. And all the people are meant to be lovely as well. So I'd always had my heart set on it for at least the past year. And I was going to go on my own, wasn't I, at one point, just to trial it, because you were dead agaast it, weren't you, at the time?
Yeah. Well, I've never been anywhere like that.
You've just been to Australia, right?
I've been to, I've been to
holidays,
like places. I've not really travelled anywhere. Like, I travelled parts of Australia, but that doesn't really count, I don't think. Nothing like this, anyway. Yeah, I was dead against it. One, because I didn't know anything about it, and because I've never experienced anything like it, I was like, nah, this is too scary. And also, there was that big part of me I've built up this business, and I was hesitant about letting it go. And I was worried about letting it go, because it's a scary thing to just give up. And but especially then, I had no other income apart from what I was doing in person. So giving that up and then moving was just an absolute no for me. And you were really for it, weren't you? And we even talked about you going out there for a little bit and me staying, and you kind of giving me feedback, like, am I going to be okay?
Basically persuaded and sending videos.
Yeah, and it was never that it didn't look amazing.
It's the worry
just,
of what you're going to do
yeah,
for income.
But it's scary, isn't it? It's a scary thing to do, to just pack up and go. That's why not that many people do it.
But the reason why we actually didn't do that is, one, my dad, when I said, oh, I'm going to go to Sri Lanka and try it out, my dad was like, are you and Matty okay? And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, we're fine. He was like, well, why are you going on your own? Why are you, you might ruin a good thing.
Yeah.
And then I actually thought about it, and I've always travelled on my own. When I've lived abroad, it's always been on my own. When I've gone on these big holidays, it's always been on my own. So I'm just used to doing that. But actually, even though I've moved away when I've been with a partner before, that actually hasn't worked out before, and I didn't want to lose what we have. Do you know, I realised that if I was over that, I'd just be missing you every day, because we literally are like best friends.
Shock.
So that's why we decided against it. My dad made me realise that it'd be a mistake. And also we realised that's going to be really hard, because you'd be paying all the bills here. I wouldn't be able to afford to live and explore over there. I was going to go over to network and see what jobs we could get. So I was going to work over there and still do a bit of my online stuff. But we soon realised that wouldn't be financially viable for us to do that. So that was a no. We took that off the table, and still in the back of our mind. But now we're actually looking at buying houses. My grandma really wants us to buy a house. She lives in Knutsford, 10 minutes from where we are now, and she loves that I'm so close. And yeah, we actually went to look at a few houses, didn't we?
Yeah, but that's it, isn't it? It's we've not really found anything, but we haven't really wanted that anyway.
No.
We've just been looking for houses because that's the thing that you do, and then this is part of the reason why we've just decided to go for it, isn't it? Because we didn't find anything that. No, we had that one house, but we were never going to afford it.
It was just way out of our budget.
We were never going to be able to afford it.
I mean, the idea of having your own home and decorating it and like having a garden, like we live in a flat and we don't have a garden at the moment, and that's something I really miss. And I could be happy in a house, but for me, it had to be pretty much in the middle of nowhere, as in no one around, and loads of like woodland or like just land around us, and that's just not in a financial position that we're in to live around here. And so actually the thought of moving into somewhere that wasn't like that and spending all this money, and then being honest with ourselves, all the money that we'd have to put into that house would stop us from going on any holidays or travelling for a few years. And then obviously you have things that go wrong with your house. So we actually realised, and I began to think, I think I'd like it short term. If we moved into our own place, it'd be so exciting. But then I think I'd be bored. I think I would feel trapped, and I think I would regret more not going travelling this age than getting a house. And that's ultimately what we both realised, is in 5 years' time, would we be happier that we'd bought a house and had a house, but then we wouldn't have been able to travel or explore the world? Or would we be more excited that, yes, we don't own anything, but we've actually travelled loads of countries and we've actually lived abroad together, because we've never done that together. We've both done that separate.
Yeah.
And I think that was the moment that we were like, we've got to make this work.
Yeah.
And actually, I think the second moment that really solidified it was your realisation, correct me if I'm wrong, but your realisation that you are so passionate about coaching and transformation and NLP that actually it's less scary to leave your personal training, because although you enjoy it, it's not your sole passion anymore. And so the thought of losing it wasn't as scary, because you're wanting to move into this next chapter of really prioritising coaching and having those types of clients.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think that's when it changed.
Yeah, definitely, because I've realised over the last few months that the more that I've gone into actually coaching, that's what lights me up more. And it's a difficult thing, because I love the people that I work with, and I love the relationships that I've built with them. I've worked with a lot of these people for a long time, so the element of giving that up was hard to like process that and think, right, this is, if I do this is going. So that was hard, but I think that what I want from my career and my business, it means I have to do it. Like, I have to put myself into this uncomfortable, partly position, which is throwing myself in at the deep end and seeing if I can swim, which we both know that I'm not very good at swimming. So let's see, hopefully in this metaphorical swim, I'm all right. But yeah, I think that was the big thing for me. So like what you said, the whole house thing, and in 5 years' time, would we regret it? Yeah. And then also what solidified it for me was, if I want to take my business in the direction that I want it to, I have to do this, because I'm just going to stay in this safe zone, which is taking my in-person income, living off that, surviving, enjoying it, but not being as fulfilled as I think I could be and will be by just going into coaching. Because people who know me and who work with me know that as much as I love the gym, I don't love the gym. Like, I'm not obsessed with the gym. It's become part of my identity.
It's changed, hasn't it?
It's become part of my identity, and I think that like I mentioned in one of the previous episodes about jiu-jitsu, like, I think enjoying the sport has now made me not need the gym or want the gym as much, because I found something else, found a different passion. But even back in the day, like, the gym became part of my identity. It became something I did, something I enjoyed. I liked the progress of it, but I've never been one. If you say to me, Matt, you've got to spend 2 hours in the gym, I'd be like, no.
Yeah.
45 minutes in and out, done. An hour tops. Because when I'm in there, I just want to get the thing done and get it. I don't like being in there. I don't enjoy it.
And that's what's helped us shift and actually realise that we do want to travel. We've been wanting this for so long. Ever since we've met. We've been together nearly 5 years now, I think.
Yeah.
And so we're finally
doing it.
And finally on that same page.
Yeah, I just want to kind of finish the point I was making though about, so that, like, decision of me not really loving the gym. I didn't get into this career. I kind of fell into the career because I needed a visa, and then turned out that I was good at it and actually really enjoyed it. But now I feel like, for me, the next evolution is doubling down on coaching and going into that. And that's why another reason for me, the main reason, I guess, really is I've got to throw myself into it, and this will give me that opportunity to do it. And there's no hiding place, because, yeah, like I said before, it's sink or swim.
And moving abroad as well, obviously living over there, a lot cheaper than here. So actually it gives you that room and space and a less pressure to build it over there. Whereas obviously if you're doing that here, you need to earn enough and stay at the gym to earn what we're paying here. And then we were obviously trying to save up to travel as well. Whereas this way, that allows us to do it. And that's why when we say we're moving to Sri Lanka, we are moving to Sri Lanka, but in the long term, I would love to travel the world and see all different cultures and different countries. And, there's so much of the world that I haven't seen that I would love to. But also starting off somewhere gives us, we've done so much research on Sri Lanka. We know that we can do some in-person stuff there. I've been speaking for the last year and a half to different people in a WhatsApp group that are living in Sri Lanka, different retreat centres, studios. I've also been building my online, and you've built some online clients. So we have been making progress, even though we hadn't fully decided if we were moving or not yet. But I think actually viewing houses and that becoming real and actually realising this isn't what we want, that has pushed us to be like, right, this is what we want. And there's a lot of pressure, isn't there? Especially we're 30s, early 30s, to settle down, have kids, to have a house, and that's just not us.
And we don't even know if that's what we want. We might change our minds in the future, but right now, it's not really us, is it? And
no, I'm ready. Well, we're both ready for an adventure.
Yeah, and I think it just becomes so much harder, doesn't it, later down the line? It's not to say that, you have a mortgage and you have kids and you can't go and do these things, but it makes it 10 times harder. You know, you traveling with a family of 3 as opposed to the 2 of you, or even, you know, however many kids you end up having, with a mortgage to pay as well. It's like, it's not just, you can't just drop it and go, can you?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's timing wise for us, it's just, this is the moment, isn't
and
it?
If we thought, if not now, well, when?
Yeah.
And we're not getting any younger.
No.
This is the youngest that we'll ever be, so why not go? And it's been on our list of dreams for so long. And I think what also, because I'd always been for moving. Don't get me wrong, I'm still scared, but you know, through discomfort is where the biggest growth is. And I mean, if we weren't scared, then we probably aren't as excited. Yeah, exactly. So it's a really big move. But for you, it was kind of waiting for you to catch up, which is rightly so, because you had clients that were weekly. So it's different for you. And a lot more of my stuff is now online than yours.
Yeah.
So it was kind of waiting for you to catch up and give you time, but also watching the YouTube videos. And whenever we've been on holiday, Matty spoke about this before, he struggles to switch off, so it always works, but he actually enjoys doing a little bit of work and then kind of having the rest of the day off. He loves that kind of day. And when we were in Turkey, or whenever we were abroad, you were like, oh, I can imagine us living here, like being on my laptop here, doing a bit of work here, and then going to the beach or going in the sea, and that's the lifestyle that we've always wanted. Like, I don't drink alcohol at all now. You don't drink very much. The main thing that we do is go for brunch and walks.
And coffee.
And we're bored a lot of the time. I mean, there are things that you can do in the UK, but it's so much more us living in a warmer climate. Like, I really want to learn to surf.
I'll watch you do that.
You'll watch me do that. Matty won't you'll put your head underwater.
If I can hold my nose.
Yeah, and if I'm around you, so you know that I'm there just in case. But you won't ever jump into water. You have to climb or wade in, don't you?
I've not got over that
Maybe
yet.
we'll get over that fear when we move.
Hopefully. I've gotten better, but I think the dunking my head underwater is the least of my concerns in terms of
so I have to get all the spiders out the house. I will not kill an insect, so I will get the spiders out the house. Matty is scared of spiders, so
I'm scared of a lot. Really,
you really are. So I'm gonna be like the masculine, the man in the relationship,
and I'm basically gonna be like the idiot abroad. Really, I had this conversation the other day, and it dawned on me that I am going to be that person, aren't I?
I think you'll get used to it. I really do, because I was terrified of, like, not terrified, but I didn't like big spiders. And when I worked on a banana farm in Australia, on this conveyor belt, you'd have the bananas coming down. When they chop the bunches off, they'd come in the water to kind of clean them. And all these big bananas would be floating, like the bunches of bananas. And you'd just see alive spiders, like, floating, like, holding on dear life to these bananas. And they were massive. And in the end, you just kind of just got so used to it because you saw so many.
Oh, you're selling it.
But this was Australian, this was banana farming. But I think you'll get used to it. But the main reason we're moving is the beach. So where we're thinking of starting off is Hirakatia, isn't it? Which is like a horseshoe shaped cove. It's a bit more new and upcoming. Not many people who have visited Sri Lanka in the past have actually been to Hirakatia, and there's still a lot of kind of building, but it's like chilled surf vibes, beach vibes. There are some co-working cafes. There are loads of studios and more being built. So there's loads of yoga, wellness, fitness.
There's a jungle gym.
There's a jungle gym, which you're really excited about. And you've found some jiu-jitsu as well, a few jiu-jitsu places nearby.
Yeah.
So that is where we think we'll be starting off. And I just can't wait. It looks like paradise. You can actually hire, which I didn't believe Matty, because he'd watched a YouTube whilst I was out, and you can hire a tuk-tuk. And what I mean by that is tuk-tuks you have in Thailand and everywhere, and you have a driver and you can jump in. But in Sri Lanka, which I've never heard of, you can actually hire it out for you to drive. So it could be Matty or me driving the tuk-tuk. And the last
It's
time...
going to be me, isn't it?
Yeah, and the last time I was in Bali, so I did drove a moped, but that's when I had my big accident. I had to have 16 stitches on my knee, and I have not been on a moped since. So I'm a bit worried to get back onto a moped.
It's going to tuk-tuk. It's
So
got 3
that's
wheels
why I
on
think
it.
we're going to get
Has it got 4 wheels or 3 wheels? Is it like a
Ooh,
tricycle?
I think 3.
I think it
Yeah,
is.
tricycle.
It's not got a steering wheel. It's got like bike handlebars.
Yeah.
But then there's the motor engines. But again,
Oh my God,
it's
I'd love
even
us to have a tuk-tuk.
It was watching the videos and like eating with your hands.
You don't have... You're making it sound like so...
I've watched the videos.
No, I told you, if you go to the street food places where it's the cheapest, the real local cuisine, which we're definitely going to do, but I'm sure it was when I went and lived... I didn't live in India, sorry. I went to do my yoga teacher training in India, and I still ate with a fork, but they said that they eat... what was it? Wipe their bum with their left hand and eat with the right hand, or I might have got that the wrong way round. So they eat with their hands a lot, but...
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to bring that up. It was like you said, I've got to try and work out which one do I want to wipe with.
But they'll have forks everywhere, so you don't have to do that. But obviously it's culture, isn't it? So I'm just really excited. I
They
can't
better
wait.
have forks.
They do have forks. Anyway, but I'm excited for that. I'm excited to wake up, go for a swim, a walk on the beach, and then we'll still be working, so it'll be like a working holiday, but we'll be in paradise.
Well, it'll just be life, won't it? It'll be like we'll just be living there, and we have to work to live. So we'll be just doing our normal day-to-day stuff, and
you'll be building your online, I'll be building mine,
and we'll just be posting loads of pictures
to make you all jealous. No, we'll be posting the highs and the lows, because I reckon there'll be some lows as well. That's life, isn't it?
Yeah. I can already foresee him.
Oh God, don't.
Still trying to work out which one to wipe with. For me.
So to come back to the question, I'm actually glad that we only got sent one question, because this has just sent us off on a tangent. So I think we'll only need one more question from one person for next time as well. But was there a moment where you went from chatting about it to we are absolutely doing this now? That was in December, and then the real... Because we were like umming and ahhing for ages, we were like, we've got to tell people, otherwise we can kind of just go back and get scared again. So that's when we started telling family. Yeah. And then we started telling friends, then clients, and now pretty much everyone knows. And we're going in May. We haven't booked a flight yet. The reason being is we are in touch with some like retreat studios and things like that. So if they want us to come sooner, we kind of want to leave it a little bit open. But most likely we'll be booking a flight for the end of May. Yeah. Probably no later than May.
It'll be end of May, beginning of June sort of thing, isn't it?
Well, I want to go a bit earlier, but you're saying end of May. I'm ready to go now.
Yeah, we're kind of thinking end of May, beginning of June, just because...
And we've started selling our stuff.
Yeah. You can't see it on the video, but the lounge is like
it's like
real
a shop.
life vintage.
It is like a shop. Like, all my clients are so funny. When I asked the questions you've probably seen on Instagram of asking us questions about Sri Lanka, someone wrote, have you still got any oracle cards left? Because that's all my clients when they come for the sharing circles or the Reiki. Like, I'm literally like, I'm selling everything. Obviously, there's some things that I've sold but can't give them yet because we're not going for a while.
No. Everything is
I'm doing pretty well.
Everything is open for an offer.
Yeah, if you see anything you like, let us know.
If you want a bed, literally everything, isn't it?
Yeah,
we're just selling everything.
We're not keeping anything because we've not really got anywhere. Well, one, we're not paying for storage. Two, we haven't really got anywhere to store it with our family. Yeah, we're getting rid of everything. And also, it's quite freeing. I mean, I've never classed myself as materialistic, but then I've realised how much stuff I have, and actually...
You are a bit of a hoarder.
I am a bit of a hoarder, but with nice things, more like spiritual things, and charity shops. I love charity shops. But actually, like, getting rid of things and knowing that they're going to a good home and actually getting money for Sri Lanka, and I'm putting that to the side so I don't spend it, is helping me to kind of let go and release it. And like just the thought of us in May having a backpack and that's all we own is quite liberating.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's exciting.
Yeah. So
that's it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. We've answered that question, and lots of others, but yeah, we're still very much in the planning
we answered
stages.
Questions that didn't even get asked. Very thorough.
We've got so much more to cover, but if you want to keep us on topic and stop us going off tangents, yeah, send us your questions in. But yeah, we're going to Sri Lanka. Our decision is made, and we're going end of May latest, or you say beginning of June. And we're selling all our stuff. At the moment, we just have our own online work that we're doing, but we'll keep you posted if that changes and we get any in-person offers to work over there as well, where we'll do both of them. But yeah.
Yeah. Exciting.
Counting down the days.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.